Hi there, welcome to another video from Hegarty Maths. It's Mr. Hegarty here. It's our second video on direct proportion and double number lines. Let's start with something I taught you previously in a topic called ratio. I'd like you to pause the video and double check you can express the following ratios in the following forms. And hopefully you got the following answers, okay? So if you're not sure about that, you are going to need it for this video, so go back to your building blocks. The other thing I just want to remind you of is what direct proportion was all about. Can you remember what the definition for two quantities being in direct proportion to each other was? Well, it was if two quantities are in direct proportion or are directly proportional to each other, then as one quantity increases, the other quantity increases at the same rate, okay? Or as one quantity decreases at the same rate the other one does. So that's really important about what it is. And just to remind you of that definition a little bit further, I want to just talk about the double number line again and some of the things we learnt from the double number line. Now, do you remember we had as an estimation that 8 kilometers was 5 miles, and we could have drawn the following double number line? We learnt that you can double your number of kilometers. 8 multiplied by 2 gives you 16, and when you do that you must also double your number of miles, so 5 multiplied by 2 would give you 10 miles. Okay, so that is what we learnt. Now in this particular video, what we're going to be considering, say if I asked you, right, what's 1 kilometer worth? How would you do that? Well, what you would do is, you know that 8 kilometers is 5 miles, so to get 1 kilometer, you're going backwards, you would divide by 8. And similarly here, you would divide 5 by 8 like that, and you would get 5/8, let's say, or whatever that is as a decimal. Okay, so you could say that 1 kilometer is 5/8 of a mile. Similarly, I might ask you the following. I might say to you, right, well, what's 1 mile worth then? How would you get from 5 miles to 1 mile? What you would do is you would divide by 5. And similarly, you would have to do your 8 kilometers divided by 5 as well to work out what the value of that is, and it would be 8/5, or as a decimal, let's say 1.6. So that's the idea we're going to be using in this particular video, and from now on I'm not going to draw the double number line anymore. We're going to write it slightly differently, but I use this for you to introduce the idea. Now, just before I go on and show you the new way of writing it, I just want to point out a classic mistake. Sometimes students think if someone asks them what 1 mile is worth and they knew that 8 kilometers was 5 miles, this is what they do. They say, well, how do you get from 5 to 1? You subtract 4. So they think, because the things are in proportion, I'd also subtract 4. 1 mile is equal to 4 kilometers. 8 subtract 4. Now hopefully you understand that proportion is not about adding or subtracting. The two things are in the same proportion if they increase or decrease at the same rate. And the key here is the word rate, and rate is all about scaling things up and down, multiplying and dividing. It's not about adding and subtracting. So I thought it's really important to point that classic mistake out for you there so you avoid it when you're dealing with quantities in direct proportion. Right, let's go on, and I want to show you this very example, but in the new way I'm going to show you how to write it. As an estimation, we're told 8 kilometers is 5 miles. We're asked the following two questions. What is the conversion rate from miles to kilometers? How many kilometers per mile? And what is the conversion rate from kilometers to miles? How many miles per kilometer? This is how we're going to do it henceforth. Always write down your conversion rate. This is our conversion rate, and we're going to write it as a ratio. Okay, so I'm going to write that as a ratio. 8 kilometers to 5 miles. Right? Now, you want how many kilometers per mile or per 1 mile, right? So you want your mile numbers to be 1 mile. Right? So you're going to fill in what you want. How do I get from 5 miles to 1 mile? Well, I divide by 5. So therefore I must divide this one by 5 as well, and I get myself 8/5, like we got on the double number line, or 1.6 kilometers. Alright, so if you were stating your answer, how many kilometers per mile, you could state that 1.6 kilometers per mile. And that is the conversion rate, okay, from miles to kilometers. Every 1 mile is 1.6 kilometers. If we were doing it the other way around, always start by writing down your ratio for conversion, or your rate of conversion. This time we want how many miles per kilometer, per 1 kilometer. So you want yourself how much 1 kilometer is worth. You're going to divide 8 kilometers by 8 to get the value of 1 kilometer. That means you have to do 5 divided by 8 as well. And you could write that as 5/8 of a mile, or if you had a calculator available or you wanted to do a short division, you could say that was 0.625 miles, whichever one you want to do. And that's it, we're done. I'm going to proceed with this way of writing these problems for the rest of the video, so hopefully now you've got the skills to answer all the questions. Pause the video and have a go at this question. We are told that €4 is £3, so I'm just going to write here €4 to £3. I want the conversion rate from pounds to euros, i.e. how many euros per pound, okay? So I want the pound number to be 1. How do I do that? I divide by 3. So what am I going to do to the euro number? I'm going to divide by 3 as well, and I'm going to get 4/3 of a euro. Because it's money, you should give it to 2 decimal places. Now you should know that 4/3 is 1.3 recurring, so this would therefore be 1.33 euros to £1. And you should probably state at the end therefore that you get yourself 1.33 per pound, like that. Alright, next one is the other way around. You want the conversion rate and you want pounds per euros. How many pounds do you get for each euro? So always start off and say that we've got €4 is equal to £3. This time you want the euro number to be €1, so you're dividing by 4, so you divide the other side by 4 as well, and you get yourself 3 divided by 4 is 3/4 or 0.75. So stating that, therefore you could say that the rate is 0.75 per euro, and we're done. Next one, pause the video, have a go at this. So for every 1,000 hits on YouTube, you get £20 advertising revenue. You're asked how much will the YouTube channel make from each hit. So I'm going to write this down as a rate or ratio. So I'm going to say 1,000 hits, okay, gives me £20. I'm asked how much will the YouTube channel make from each hit. So from each one hit, so I want this number to be 1 here, so I want to work out how much money one hit gets me. So I'm going to get from 1,000 to 1, I have to scale that by dividing by 1,000, and similarly here I have to divide this by 1,000. Now 20 divided by 1,000, if you're trying to work that out, you could divide the top and bottom by 10, which is the same as 2 divided by 100, and 2 divided by 100 is 0.02, so you can therefore say one hit gives you £0.02, or for each hit you earn 2p. You could think of it like that. The other way around, you would again write your same ratio. 1,000 hits, or the same rate, is £20. This time you're asked how many hits does the YouTube channel need to get to earn £1. So if you want that to be £1 there, you've got to do 20 divided by 20 to get 1. Similarly, you're going to have to do 1,000 divided by 20. So you can go off here and think of 1,000 divided by 20. You could divide the top and bottom by 10, and it's the same as 100 divided by 2, which is 50, right? So therefore 50 hits is getting you £1. Alright, and we're done. Next question. Pause the video, have a go. Right, we've got two things going on here. We've got Henry going away typing, and we've got Colin going away typing, and they're asking us who types at a faster rate of words per minute. So let's work out how many words per 1 minute each of them does. So let's do this separately. Let's write Henry's stuff here. There's Henry. Okay, now we want to work out how many words he types in 1 minute. So we're going to divide here by 70 to get 1 minute. And we'd have to go over here and we'd have to divide by 70 as well, right? So we can go off and do 3,500 divided by 70. So we can divide the top and bottom by 10, alright? And 350 divided by 10 is equal to 50. So we're getting ourselves that he's doing 50 words per 1 minute. Let's go off and see how well Colin's doing. So Colin's over here. Colin, on the other hand, is doing 1,500 words, 30 minutes. Right? So let's try and work out how much he does each minute. We're going to have to divide by 30 here, so we're going to have to go off and divide by 30 here. And if you do 1,500 divided by 30, you can divide the top and bottom by 10, and 150 divided by 3 is actually 50 again. So he does 50 words per minute. So the question is, who types faster? And the answer is they type at the same rate. Last question. Pause the video, have a go. So Shop A sells 6 eggs for £2.16. Shop B sells 7 eggs for £2.24. Which has the better price per egg, per 1 egg? So let's label it as we did before. Here's Shop A. Right, we know the ratio or the rate is 6 eggs per, and it costs £2.16, right? And we know that shop B, on the other hand, sells 7 eggs per £2.24. So we want the price per 1 egg. So we want this number here to be 1. So we're going to divide by 6 to get 1 egg here. And we're going to have to work out £2.16 divided by 6. Let's go off and do that. So it's 0.36 or 36p for 1 egg in shop A. Over here we want the value of 1 egg as well, so we're going to have to divide by 7, and we're going to have to go off and do £2.24 divided by 7. So 1 egg here is 0.32 pennies. And we can compare these. Here you get 1 egg for 36p, here 1 egg for 32p. The question was which price per egg is better? Well, shop B is better by 4p. And that's it, we're done.